Another great resource for the latest in computer gaming is Next Generation magazine. And here's a guy who has a great job. He gets paid to review new games for the magazine. Welcome to Jeff Lundrigan. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm just fine.
All right, you got a couple games I know you really like, and one of them is the new MechWarrior, MechWarrior Vengeance, or MechWarrior 4. First of all, well, people who don't know, what's MechWarrior about?
Well, MechWarrior is basically, it's a game about giant fighting robots, which, you know, is a great thing to do.
22nd century warfare or whatever.
They're just huge lumbering tanks. You can think of the walkers in Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's kind of what they're like. Only they're a lot more complicated and they have a lot more firepower. So.
All right, so what's different about the new MechWarrior compared to the earlier MechWarrior?
Well, this latest MechWarrior is a lot more of an arcade feel to it. It's a lot easier to jump into. It's a lot easier to play. You can just kind of get in and go.
Okay.
Has a lot less of the resource management that the old one did. It has a lot less of the nitpicky.
Are you still building your warriors, though?
Yeah, to a certain extent. The classic MechWarrior thing is to go out and shoot another robot and then salvage it for parts for the next batch that you send out.
All right, why don't we get it up here and take a look at what it looks like here? So
we do that.
Play a little game here. So we are out in the desert somewhere,
we're out in the desert,
and that character is you.
That's me. And we're
what are the pieces
fire.
of the screen? Just explain what we're seeing here.
Okay, well down there off on the left is my status screen. You'll notice I've already taken some hits. My upper pods there are sort of yellow, whereas only my left leg is green because that's the only place that hasn't been hit.
And you're actually consuming energy and generating heat.
Absolutely consuming energy and generating heat, that's correct. And the more heat that I generate, the less well my mech will work. So you've got to kind of be careful about picking your shots and not just going all too crazy. And making sure you've got the guy in your sights before you go loading on him, because otherwise you're just going to run out of gas, basically.
So, I mean, what's the strategy here other than just sort of shooting at these guys until they fall?
Well, that's the one thing about this game that's sort of different from before, because what used to happen is, traditionally, what I'm doing here is you just target the guy's legs and wait until he falls over, and then he's helpless. They've kind of adjusted that a lot in this version.
Not quite so easy to do.
It's not quite so easy to do. Battles last a lot longer. They're actually just a hair more difficult on the whole. But it's still a lot of really great, just giant robot action, and you can't really go wrong with that.
But the difficulty is really not wasting your resources, not wasting your energy, not
wasting your resources, being real careful that you don't blow up too much of the other guy because you want something to salvage at the end of the day.
So you're going to use those pieces to build your next robots.
Exactly.
All right, now, before I want you to get to another game in a second, which is your other favorite one you want to show us, called No One Lives Forever. But first of all, I got to ask you about this mother of all joysticks you have here that you've been playing with. What is the deal here? This is huge.
Yeah, this is the Microsoft Force Feedback 2. It's their latest force feedback joystick. You can see it kind of jumping around in my hand. Every time I take a hit, it takes a bump.
So it's got the force feedback. What I know is you can actually rotate and twist that joystick,
You can rotate the joystick left and right. You'll notice that my torso goes this way, right. As well as turning to the right, so I can then go this way. And that's a real handy thing to have. It's also got like about 12 different buttons on it, so you can pretty much program it for any game.
But it seems to me like joysticks are not as hot as they were before for games.
Not as hot as they used to be. I think the main reason is just that they've gotten so big. Right. I mean, look at this footprint. I've got a keyboard, I've got a mouse, I've got a monitor, and right in the middle of it all, I've got this huge joystick.
All right, now before we get to the next game, I want to ask, we're talking Microsoft here, their joystick, their game.
Their joystick, their game.
We've been talking about the PS2, we've been talking about the Dreamcast so far on the show. Now, they're coming out with an Xbox.
Yeah,
what's going to be special about that?
Well, it's going to have a hard drive and a modem inside it from the get-go to start with. It's going to be real easy to develop for, at least according to all the developers that we've talked to. It's not exactly off-the-shelf parts, but it's parts that people are really familiar with. And so it's not going to take a whole heck of a lot of resources.
So it could be hot.
Could be hot. Could be